Hi everyone, welcome back to our show, Case Done. We are at episode 13 today. My name is Pisek or Bench. I'm your host today. At Case Done, we promise to bring you news and insights about AI and generative AI so that you can bring that insight to empower your work, your team, and yourself. Today we have quite a list of interesting topics. The first one we are going to talk about a better way to compare, or actually a new tool to compare large language model providers together. We have a few dimensions that you want to look into before you choose your LLM for building your application. The second topic, we are going to take a look into another leaderboard that evaluate how an LLM can do function calling, and this is useful because you want to make an agent perhaps to trigger some function callings or call some service through an API in order to provide an answer to the user. And the highlight of today is the last topic, which is about Open WebUI, where you will have an interface that is ready for you and your team to use, and you just need to have perhaps one API key from OpenAI, and better yet, you can interface this with Ollama as well. So, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Case Done by AI. We are on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, Substack, and even on GitHub as well. Alright, let's get started with the first topic. Well, actually, we are going to take a look into GPT-4o mini for a moment here. So a week ago, OpenAI has released GPT-4o mini, selling it as a cost-efficient, intelligent LLM. And yes, this is good for us. And this is the highlight from its release notes. So this GPT-4o mini is supposed to be cost-efficient. The performance will be a bit below or behind GPT-4o, the regular version, but you have more gains in terms of the cost. For example, right now the GPT-4o mini will cost you 15 cents per million input tokens, while the output tokens are at 60 cents per a million output tokens. That's significantly less than the GPT-4 and GPT-4o. So this is very attractive to build a LLM application using a GPT-4o mini right now. So it's supposed to be able to run at low cost and at low latency for applications that require chaining or parallelizing multiple model calls, or maybe you need to pass in a lot of tokens. For example, in application for retrieval augmented generation, that you might want to throw in like a whole PDF into the model for the model to find a reference answer. So that's because of its low cost, the RAG application is getting more attractive for using GPT-4o mini with. Now, the last one is because there is a benefit of having low latency as well. This GPT-4o mini is suitable for application that interacts with customers that you need fast and real-time response. For now, as of today, GPT-4o mini only supports text and vision in the API with OpenAI, but in the future they promise to support multimodal inputs like text, image, video, and audio, as well as outputs as well. By the way, the context window is still kept at 128,000 tokens, while the output can be as long as 16,000 tokens. So all in all, I think it's another option that is very, very attractive due to its low cost and low latency. And I think I'm going to have my team try to use GPT-4o mini compared to the GPT-4o. I think the cost will save us a lot of the cost here. So at the bottom of this release notes, by the way, you can take a look at this release notes from OpenAI website. here we can compare performance of multiple LLM out there. So we have GPT-4o mini in orange, Gemini Flash, a faster version of the Gemini 1.5 Pro from the Google camp. You have Claude Haiku from Anthropic, and you can see the OpenAI flagship GPT-4o in pink as well. So from this chart, I'm not sure if they handpicked the benchmarks so that GPT-4o rocks in every category, but here it is right now. You can see that GPT-4o ranks top among how many? 8 benchmarks right here, and the GPT-4o mini in orange is a little bit less than that, but still wins over other LLMs from other providers like Gemini, for example. So if this plot or bar chart is true, GPT-4o mini is a viable option to build your LLM application further. At the bottom, if you are interested in how they train the model and how they put safety into training the model, you can take a look at this as well. So this is a new model that is now available for most of the users, even on the ChatGPT interface as well as the API call. On the second note, there is another model released by Groq in collaboration with Glaive, I suppose. Now, this model is fine-tuned on top of the Llama 3 architecture from Meta. Now, Groq has trained this model in 2 flavors, 70 billion parameter and 8 billion parameter, but this LLM is supposed to be an expert in function calling or tool use. And why do you want to have an LLM that can do tool use? This is because you might want to build an agent that is capable of calling APIs or triggering some function executions, and the accurate of function use or tool use is, the better the performance of your app. And so far, this Groq-Llama 3 Groq tool use model is probably the best. That's what it's claimed. The highest performance, at least in open source world, for LLM to use function calling properly. Now, this model is also available on Hugging Face as well, as you can see here. So you could access it and use it the way you want it to be. But what is interesting here is this Berkeley Function Calling Leaderboard. This is going to be our next topic. The second topic, to be honest. But here it is. This is how the Llama 3 Groq synth 70 billion and 8 billion to use models compared to other models like Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which was very, very well known due to its performance a few weeks ago. Now, based on tool use criteria, this Llama 3 Groq version seems to be a good option for that as well. So having said that, now you can see that with the GPT-4o mini, where in the release notes we only mention about cost and latency and just typical performance in benchmarks like MMLU, GPQA or something like this. This is more like a reasoning capability of the model that is the main focus of this release note. But on this release note from Groq model, the Llama 3 Groq 2, they focus us on another capability, which is function calling. So in order to build your agent or assistant-based application well, you need to know the model's performance in many aspects that you wish your application to serve. Is your application only to serve the AI as assistant, or is your application meant to have an AI that can trigger or call some tool and functions? So you need to know how to pick the model based on that as well. So that actually brings us to our first actual official topic here. We are going to take a look into this I don't know, I think this is a tool or a community that they run an independent analysis on the AI models across many API providers, so that you can see which model LLM models are suitable for your application in terms of optimizing cost, performance, and many more. So we are going to take a look into this artificial analysis.ai, which is here. So when you come to this website, this is the first page that you will see. Basically, you can see the ranking of these models in 3 aspects. The first one is the quality, and then speed, and then price. So yeah, you can now see where these how these models compare in these separate dimensions right here. For example, the quality could refer to a reasoning, an ability to reason and executing or provide response based on instruction. Pretty much instruction following could be related to some function calling as well. And you can see that now GPT-4o is the first, the top model that you should go for if you aim for quality. But because the quality has a trade-off between the speed, because sometimes, most of the time, the quality is related to the size of the model, and the larger the model is, the slower it computes. So GPT-4o now, in terms of speed, is not the top anymore. It drops to the 6th among the models in the comparison set right here. In terms of the price, right, again, GPT-4o somehow is now the most expensive. For price, you want the first one. You want like Llama 3, which is open source, and you can host it very affordably. So this is the way to compare all these models independently for different aspects independently. And maybe this is not the best way to do. You might want to do a cross comparison. You might want to combine quality with speed, and maybe you want to combine all 3 in order to consider your model. And they actually have the tools at the bottom here. But before we go down there, so this second plot is to compare the model quality by different aspects. Now we have right here general ability, like a chatbot arena. So this could be from the chatbot arena itself. And the second one is in terms of reasoning and knowledge, world knowledge. Therefore, the MMLU benchmarks right here. And coding ability, you want your LM to help a human in writing or coding. You are looking into the human eval benchmarks. So right here we are seeing at least 2 benchmarks, MMLU and human eval, and another one is the chatbot arena scoring. So take a look at it here. We can see that now GPT-4o is still one of the strongest models out there. Maybe second, the second one is the Claude Sonnet 3.5 Sonnet from Anthropic, and Gemini 1.5 Pro may be the third viable option right now. Okay, now we are going to take a look into a 2-dimensional comparison right here. So this one we are comparing the quality. Quality will come back to ability to chat, general ability, or reasoning and knowledge ability, or coding ability. And perhaps this comparison aggregate or sum all this into one particular metric called quality. The quality is now on the y-axis here, and you want high quality, right? The top one. On the x-axis, you have output speed. How fast can the model produce tokens? You want the model to output tokens really fast. And by charting this, you can see that the most optimal region, the most desirable region, is the top right quadrant, right? You want high quality, and if you also want high speed as well, then 2 good options are going to be the Gemini 1.5 Flash and the GPT-4o Mini. So yes, if you want high speed, it's there. But if speed, you don't need it to be so high, but you want to focus more on the performance or the quality, then GPT-4o and Claude 3.5 Sonnet are a good option to go for. And perhaps maybe a Gemini 1.5 as well. Right? So this is the way that you can use multiple axes or dimensions to pick your LLM to use in your application. Now, the size of the dots are corresponding to the price of the tokens. A large dots are expensive, so pretty much Claude 3.5 Sonnet is more. Sorry, GPT-4o is more expensive than the Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and now you can see that the dots are quite close. So why are you paying more if the quality and the speed metrics combined, they're not that different, right? Maybe you will go for Claude 3.5 Sonnet rather than GPT-4o at this point. This chart is a two-dimensional chart, but only for quality and the price. So you actually want a lower price. Price is on the x-axis now. So the optimal, the winning zone here is the top left corner, and the winning models are GPT-4o Mini and GPT 1.5 Flash. Now see, the 1.5 Flash and GPT-4o Mini is roughly at the same cost and also quality. So yeah, maybe I'll pick that model for my application. This one is output speed. You can see again that you want higher speed. Now in this case it's Mistral Nemo, and the second one up is Gemini 1.5 Flash. This one is plotting the price but separated into input and output prices. Not surprising there, GPT-4 is the most expensive out there, but again it comes with quality. This is the graphs up to this point are no-brainer, right? You can take a look at it, and there are explanations on the right hand side as well. Now this is the second part of this tool. This part is actually comparing service providers, not the model providers. These are the infrastructure guys who host the models for you. This chart is comparing output speed and price. Price is on the x-axis. Higher price, you don't want that. Lower price, you want that more. The y-axis is the output speed. What stands out really is Groq here. Groq, as a service provider, has a really fast output token generation, but the price is one of the lowest as well compared to Microsoft Azure. Wow, this is crazy. Why do you charge that much when you can only output so low, right? So typically the winner right here is Groq for output versus price. Yeah, you can see in performance here, as time goes by, Groq is quite consistently above everyone else in terms of the output speed over time. Now at the bottom of the page you have a list of models from different providers, and you can check their API or the detail of their model in the link as well. Now if you come back at the top, there are other things that you can do. For example, you can focus on a particular model that you are interested in. Let's say GPT-4o Mini. You can click there, and there is going to be a summary, like the good things and the bad things about these models, like the quality, the price, speed, latency, and context window. Now, the context window is not available in the first page or the landing page, but if you select a model, you can see the information about the context window as well. More importantly, if you want the numeric values of things like latency and speed or token, speed, pretty much token generation speed, come to this page, pick a model that you are interested in. For example, I'm picking Gemini right now, and you can see the numbers, and you can actually compare these things with other models as well. So here again, in the two-dimensional chart of quality and output speed, Gemini 1.5 is right here. One of the good thing about Gemini is its context length. I'm trying to look for the chart. So as you can see, there are so many charts if you pick a model. But one, I'm not finding it right here. But one of the good thing about Gemini is the context length window, in which now it supports up to 1 million token context window, while GPT-4o or GPT-4o mini support only 128,000. So about 10 times less. So anyway, so you can take a look at, you can come to this website and dig into the performance of the model that you are interested in. So just to finish this thing, I'm just going to go back to the GPT-4o mini, and I'm going to go through this model comparison here. You have navigation buttons that would jump you to whatever topics or aspects that you are interested in. So again, this is a 2D chart of quality versus output speed. GPT-4o mini lands right here. It's in the winning zone, so probably a good option for building general purpose application. So you can reselect a model right here, but again, I think this is going to change. I'm sorry, I'm just going to go back to this one. Okay, context window. So yeah, I think I lost. So 1.5 flash and GPT-4o, and you can see here the context window of the 1.5 flash is 1 million. 1.5 Pro, Gemini 1.5 Pro now support 2 million tokens. So imagine how you don't need to build. You might not need to build a vector embedding database to build your RAG application. You might be just throwing in everything you have to Gemini 1.5 Pro to get an answer to. Other than that, there are other things like text-to-speech and speech-to-text models. Like for speech-to-text, we can take a look into Whispers, models released by OpenAI long ago, or you can actually go to to compare other models together. But in many ways, this is incomplete compared to the other language model. As you can see here now, it's asking you to participate in an arena style evaluation between two models. So you can do that too if you wish, but the thing that you are interested in the text to speech or speech to text is again the speed factor and character per second, or the speed and also the price here. I think there are price listing down there. Here you go. You can have information about how much you'll get charged per 1 million of character generation in the sense of the speech to text. There are other things like text to image as well. You can let's take a quick look in here. This is text to image generation. So we have players in these categories: Mid-Journey, Stable Diffusion, DALL E, or like your GPT OpenAI guy. So here we go. We have price and quality. The quality will be, you need to take a look into how quality is measured in details here. So this is the image arena style. So the quality is human judged quality. So it's not bad. It's actually a pretty good way to extract quality from the model. And you have the information about everything that you want in here. So all in all, artificial analysis.ai is a tool that actually allows you to compare models, different models, across so many dimensions. At least you have quality, speed, price, context length, and so on, right? So yeah, make sure that you come to this page to take a look at these, how these models compare, and use the two-dimensional ones, two-dimensional comparison to pick the model that you want to use. All right, in the next topic, we are going to dig into another leaderboard, but this leaderboard is going to measure how large language models, how they correctly call functions, right? And this work is accomplished, or it made possible by a group at Berkeley University. Sorry, I think yes. Let's take a look at the blog. So you can take a look at the paperwork from this right here. Okay, so yeah, dig into this work when you have time. But so let's get through this. So this leaderboard is an attempt to evaluate models in terms of its ability to correctly call a function. Well, the model, the LLMs are not going to call a function on its own, but a way to measure that is how can it write a function call correctly. So this is how we are going to evaluate this model. So it's still a text generation model, right? Like ChatGPT or GPT-4o or Gemini 1.5 Flash. You ask it to, say, write a Python function to do this and that, or and then it will generate some text for you, and you take that text and evaluate whether this text is correct or not. The same idea with this function calling leaderboard. So you ask the LM, the model, to do something, and you provide a list of functions, programming functions. You provide a list of programming functions, and you evaluate whether the model can correctly write a syntax to actually call the function or not. All right, so this is a cap screen of the image, of the leaderboard. So we are going to take a look at it in detail later. But that leaderboard also have a wagon wheel, that's what it's called, so that you can compare multiple models in I think 9 aspects at the same time. So yeah, if you play like FIFA or soccer games, you probably have seen this chart before. Now this type of chart is now used to compare models in terms of function calling. So the team has come up with a test set, a data set to test the model. In there are about 2,000 data points that the model will be evaluated upon. And among this 2,000 data points, they are split into different categories. And we can take a look at it in a few ways. One of the ways here is they split it into Pythonic area and non-Python area. For Python, we are looking into a simple function, just one function, whether the model is going to use that function or not, or call that function or not, or you can provide multiple functions for the model to choose from. If the model pick the right functions among these given functions, we give it a good score. We also evaluate whether a model can correctly say that it needs to call functions in parallel. Even better yet, multiple functions in parallel at the same time. So in terms of function callings, we are evaluating the models in from simple to highly complex function calls. In terms of non-Python evaluation, the authors of this work are testing the model in a few capabilities, like chatting capabilities. This is a case where the user who interacts with the model provide or ask something that the model should not do any function call at all. So this is a case that we need to test the chatbot as well, the bot that is supposed to do function calling, right? Because you don't want the model to call a function when it doesn't really need to. This is the same idea, but it's going to be more correct in terms of detecting whether this question is the model does really need to call a function or not. It's the non-Python evaluation also takes covers something like using REST API. REST API is used a lot on the internet in the real world, so the model needs to be able to use REST API syntax properly. Similar to SQL, the author is trying to evaluate the models on its ability to come up with a correct SQL query syntax in a form like select what from where, and given a where condition as well. So yeah, and the last thing is testing the models against Java and JavaScript programming. Here it is. There are, in terms of evaluation, other than Python and non-Python access, we are evaluating the model in terms of one, abstract syntax tree, in which it's going to be like probing whether the model has enough logic to craft this decision-making tree, whether it needs to call a function or not. And lastly, it's going to evaluate how the model will actually execute the function itself. All right. This is a lot of information in which I think I can encourage you to come to this website. You can search Galera or Berkeley Function Calling Leaderboard and spend a good 30 minutes reading to understand how this framework evaluates large language model in terms of function calling. Now let's actually go into the leaderboard to see the detail. Here we go. This is the Berkeley Function Calling Leaderboard. At the top part, this is the ranking of the leaderboard. Now, it seems like Claude 3.5 Sonnet is winning in this function calling. Aside from the performance, the functional performance, they also made some work in comparing cost and average latencies of these models as well. So yes, right now Claude 3.5 Sonnet wins in the overall metric that will probably covers AST summary, execution summary, relevance, function relevance. There are three main things here, but it's actually based on what I just told you earlier, right here, right? Actually, right here. So yeah, the Claude 3.5 Sonnet is right now is the go-to LLM if you want highly accurate function calling capability. Runner-up is GPT-4. This is GPT-4, not GPT-4o. The GPT-4o is actually here. It made it to the 12th rank, but in terms of the average performance score, it's at 83, behind its brother GPT-4 by about 5 points. What else do we have in the rank here? We also have like Gemini 1.5 Pro from Google Camp right here. Gorilla itself is from the others paper of this Berkeley Function Calling tool right here. I think this is open source, so you can actually I think this is open source. Yeah, you can get it from Hugging Face. Where is so that's the first open source model on this leaderboard, the Gorilla model. Another one that you can use is MetaLlama 370 billion parameters if you want to use an open source model. The Llama 3 is somewhere. Oh, I couldn't find it here, but like MetaLlama 3 is also in here as well. Command R from Cohere is here. Gemini, Claude 3, Opus. Here, this is the smallest model in this chart, I think. One of the smallest, 8 billion parameter, MetaLlama 3 model. It only has a score of 60. So what it means is that this is not reliable, guys. If you want a model to do function calling properly, MetaLlama 3 is unreliable. So if you want a reliable application, agent that triggers tools or calls something, use top models, right? Okay, now if you go lower, you will get to a wagon part. So in order to get the model in and out, you can just click at its name. So right now it's Gorilla and GPT-4. So you can see that Gorilla is good in this AST mode, but lags behind GPT-4 on the execution mode. So let me just add Gemini 1.5 Pro in the mix, but I think the color is not going to be so different. Here and out, here and out. So in terms of relevant detection, the paid model is actually better. I'm sorry. Why is it not coming up? Okay. Well, in terms of function calling, you can actually see, and I have seen it myself as well, that proprietary models are usually much better in terms of advanced capabilities like function calling. So if you are going to build an application for commercial purposes, I will avoid using open source model unless you can fine-tune it yourself really well. At the bottom here, they also provide error analysis. Model with a lot of error will be big box over here, while models that have low error or really good performance will be in a smaller boxes, like here. This guy is GPT-4. So let's take a look at that. I will click GPT-4 here, and in there you can see proportion of what errors this model is behaving, right? So GPT-4 do the worst in relevance, detecting whether this task is function relevant or not, but it's doing really well in simple function calling, right? So if your application only contains a situation that is simple function, meaning you only provide one function for the model to execute, then GPT-4 is a good one. But most of the time, you're not going to have one function. For a good application, you might have, like, I don't know, 5 or 10 functions. Then it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a challenge right here. So this is the parallel function error, pretty big one. All right, there are other errors like this as well. So pretty much value error means the values that the model thinks it needs to give it to a function as an argument is wrong. So yeah, there are other errors as well. So if you go back now, take a look at the worst one. Mistral. Oh god, function passing is not right? This is the biggest one. So yeah, don't use this one. So function passing is another task that this model needs to do. Remember that, like, the way to use this model is a user will describe what he or she wants, and the model will take that query and look at functions that it has access to, or at least it should know, and then it needs to extract which function. First, it needs to find the function that it needs to use. Second, then it needs to extract maybe required arguments or optional arguments to pass in to the function itself. So these are the tasks that the models need to do. All right. Eventually, you are at the bottom. They also provide you with a demo. So unfortunately, you can only pick one model, but this is a good way to learn how this thing works. So here I click example 1, and the prompt is pre-populated right here. So let me just increase the UI here. So this is a prompt that a user will provide. I am planning a camping trip and I need to know the weather forecast. Can you fetch me the weather data for the campsite located at this and that for the next 10 days, including daily temperature and precipitation forecast. I prefer temperatures to minute max in Fahrenheit. This is probably used in the US. I will use Celsius right here. And then sum up precipitation in inches. And this is the function, the description of the function that the model knows. So the way it works is that, so this is the user. Now, the provider of this service, the provider of this AI will give this document. This is called function document to a model to know that, okay, you have access to this and this function. So this is the document that describes the function. This function is pretty much request from where. This is a description. Send a GET request to a specified URL. The URL is here. Here we go. Right. So basically, this is documents provided to the model to know that you have access to this and this function. The model takes these two as an input, and then we let the model calculate. In the right hand side, you have two response boxes. The first one is the actual code format that the model predicts. The model generates. This is the code format. The other one is the same thing, but in an OpenAI compatible format. So here we go. The model thinks that it needs to call this function in this way. Request get open parentheses. This is the URL, and it needs to provide parameters, in which it's a dictionary, Python dictionary, with keys of latitude this, longitude that, daily, temperature unit, precipitation, forecast days. So this is what the model thinks based on the user's queries as well as the tool that is knows. In this case, the tool is get the weather forecast from a given URL. Another representation of that output is in an OpenAI compatible format is this guy. So yeah, this is the name of the function call is request or get. Argument given to that function call is this bunch over here. So yeah, this is then this is it. This is the output for the model. If the model is tuned properly, this function call must be correct, right? So you can see that, okay, this is how the model is evaluated. In the test set, there will be queries and document and the ground truth output that the model needs to produce, and therefore you can then check whether the model can do this task correctly or not. Here it is, guys. This is the Berkeley Function Calling Leaderboard. It allows you to check whether the model that you want to use or pick the model that you want to use so that you can build the application that needs to do function calling or tool use. Alright, so this is nothing much. The leaderboard is also live in Hugging Face space. You can come to this Gorilla LLM. The space is Berkeley Function Calling Leaderboard, but it's actually the same thing that you can see from this page. The benefit of this page is that it now has colors for you to digest it better. But again, you can see everything from this Hugging Face space as well. Examples are identical, I think, like pretty much the same thing. Oh no, this is different. This is about COVID. Okay. But yes, take a look at the example so that you can learn more about how function calling actually works. All right. This is the end of our second topic, but before we actually proceed, again, let me remind you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Case Done by AI. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, Substack, and even GitHub. Now let's arrive at the highlight of our episode today. It's going to be about Open WebUI. This is an interface that you can implement on your local machine, and it allows you to do these things. You can connect this tool with OpenAI, or better yet, if you want, Ollama running on your machine. If you do that, it allows you to do you will have your AI assistant for free locally. And by the way, Open WebUI is also available for free as well. Now this tool allows you to manage other users as well. I have done that with my company. I host it on a cloud provider, and then I can share an external link to my team members, and everyone can use this interface on their laptop. And for not for free, well, we use OpenAI API key, but we use only one key. We open one OpenAI account, and multiple people can use it because we use this tool. And this tool allows you to do retrieval augmented generation. So chat with your document. It has a way to manage the document in a not so bad way. It allows you to ask the model to do web search to supplement its answer. They also provide interface to do tool use or function calling as well. You can also do image generation, like the way you can do it with Gemini or ChatGPT web browser interface. And it provides prompt snippet, pretty much a quick way to retrieve prompt templates. One thing that I forgot to put in here is that it allows you to create something like My GPT, a custom GPT where pretty much you provide a system prompt, and then you can use that, reuse that system prompt in the same way as My GPT from OpenAI. So this is a powerful tool that I actually use in my company, and I will encourage you to use it as well, especially if you are a small team, small meaning 5 to 20. I did 20 before and it was no problem. So today, hopefully, you will be able to do that as well. Now, where would you start? You will, as usual, you start with installing what is necessary. I will recommend you do the Docker way. Even the author of this tool recommend this as well. So download Docker, install it, and pick the version that you want to run. So because I have Ollama on my machine, I picked, let me just recall this correctly. I picked this code. I don't have a GPU on my Mac, so I picked this code to download this Docker image to my MacBook. So once you download it, you can then use it. So let me just show you how it looks like if you did that. So you open terminal as you would, then you copy and paste that command, and the download will start, and when everything is finished, then you're ready to go. But don't forget to install Docker first. Alright, so I am going to kick off Ollama server. By the way, I have a separate video about using Ollama in detail, so you can check on my YouTube channel as well. So to serve, you can just do Ollama serve, and this is ready for interacting with Ollama as a server on your laptop. And then next thing is you are going to open Docker. Somehow I like to use the interface here. I can see that now my container that I downloaded, or the Docker image that I download, is here, and I can click run. So now it's doing its thing, preparing this to be accessible. Now it's running, so I can access my Docker image through here. So because I have already create my account, so I can sign in, but you can sign up very easily. So if this is the first time that you run this Docker on your machine, the first account that signs up will be the admin. So make sure that the admin, who you want to be the admin, sign up for the first time, as the first person. I have signed up, so I will skip that and sign in as I will. Okay, here we go. So here I am inside the interface right here. Because I am an admin, I have this access to the workspace. I'm going to go through bits by bit, so don't worry if you don't capture everything, but we'll go slowly. This is the interface, right? This is a new chat button. You click this button to create a new chat. You can minimize the left side panel using that button, and retrieve it back with that button right here. This is settings. So this setting will actually applies to this particular chat session. It's not a global setting. So yeah, so if you want to have a quick system prompt for this particular session, set it with this guy. So perhaps let's say you talk in a pirate style, for example. So I set it up like this. Here we go. I check that the system prompt is still there. It's there. Okay. Hello. Let me just increase interface and bench. Oops. Here we go. My model is not selected yet. So let me just select the model. Gemma 2 is available because my Ollama is running at the back. But for the purpose of this illustration, that this system prompt is now priming the AI for this particular chat to be a pirate. ahoy there. See, this is the pirate style. So yeah, this is for this particular chat, not a global setting. This buttons allow you to download it, but I haven't done that. Maybe you should try it out. This is your profile. Playground. Here we go. It's in beta mode, but it allows you to provide the system prompt. Again, this is similar to ChatGPT, but it's not that particularly useful. How do I get out of here? All right, I'll click some. Anyway, click here. I will get back. As an admin, what you would like to do is mostly in this admin panel. This one is actually for you only. Like the theme, the interface, the personalization, audio. You can interact with this OpenAI, not OpenAI, Open WebUI using voice as well. Vowels is an advanced user, so I'll skip for now. You can save your chat history or delete everything. You can manage your own accounts, like passwords and stuff, your avatar, or something like that. The admins, this one is only provided for admin user only. So there are two tabs here. This tab lists all the users in the system that has registered, and this is the details settings that the admin can do. And actually we are going to dive into this to see how do we do RAG, web search, and so on. But for now, this is the interface of how the Open WebUI looks like. You choose your models that you want to interact right here. If you upload file, it's accessible via this plus button. You can try voice and calling, but I usually don't do that. You can try it yourself. On the bottom left corner, you have pretty much the same thing as the top right corner user thing here. All right, so this is the overall user interface of Open WebUI. You can delete, rename, clone, and share a conversation. This is a conversation that we just had. We asked GPT 3.5 Turbo to be a pirate. Now, when you actually set up and run this for the first time, you're not going to have any model off the bat. You might have Open Ollama model if you have Ollama and running, but if you don't, this thing will be empty. So the first thing that you would do as an admin is to add access to models. So the way to go here is here. Go click this, go to the admin panel, go to settings tab and connections. You will now add connections. Right now I have added OpenAI API. This is the base API, the base URL that if I am using OpenAI API, it's going to ask if it's going to link to this base URL, and this is your OpenAI API key. Put it there, and now after that, after you click save, you will have your available models from OpenAI API. A question is, if you don't have, if you want to host your own models from in your private cloud, I think there's a way to do that. You just need to first get an access URL and you put it there as your main as your base URL, but your implementation of the the LLM that you host should be OpenAI compatible in terms of the API interface. I don't have time to go into the detail, but there is a way to do that. The Ollama API is there so that I can interact with the Ollama that is running on my computer. Now, if you click users, you can do what we call a whitelisting. So pretty much you can define the model that users, not admin like you, will see. The users in my system will only see 3 models that are available for them to use: GPT 3.5 Turbo and GPT-4o. You can add models to the white listing by clicking add button and select the model that you have access to. For example, GPT-4o mini, we'll add it later, but for now we are not going to do anything. I'm just going to go through most of these tabs for you, right? In general, you can enable or disable signups if you wish. You can also, I really haven't touched anything. This is more like advanced usage. So I'm just going to show you the basic thing that get you up to speed using this tool on your laptop at least. And when you master it, you can look for ways to host it on your private or cloud providers and provide the tool access to your team members. Now we come to this user before. It allows you to define whitelisting models. Connections allow you to connect to, at least right now, OpenAI API and Ollama API. Models, this is a way to pretty much manage Ollama model. By the way, Open WebUI used to call Ollama WebUI before, so that's why it integrates with Ollama, and this is the way to manage Ollama models like this, right? You can, create a model. If you're familiar, this is a syntax that you will use to create a model file for Ollama application. We start with a template. You have parameters, something like that. So yeah, this tab is for working with Ollama servers on your machine. Documents, this is for RAG application. What you want to consider here is probably what kind of models that you are using to make embeddings. Pretty much you can pick whether you want to use embedding models from OpenAI or Ollama. Right now I'm just using the default value of sentence transformers. So pretty much they will break it. This sentence transformers will process sentence by sentence into vector embeddings and keep it into a vector embedding database, so that it will be served when RAG-based application is needed. Hybrid search allows you to do more advanced things like re-ranking model, apply the re-ranking approach in the RAG application. But for now, I'm just going to ignore it. The embedding models, again here, this is the one that I have on my computer, and it's related to this sentence transformer. If you want to use a separate, different one, you can pick, let's say, Ollama, and you can download the nomic embedding models and use it there. Or for OpenAI, you have an options to define it here. Right, you can choose whether you want to use what embedding model from OpenAI. But for the most basic thing, I would just go with sentence transformers for now. But just to say that other options are not that difficult. You can define your things right here. All right. What else is there? We have content extraction. Put it to default. Query parameters, how many context chunks you want to retrieve, and this is template for RAG application. So this is a template that will be used when RAG application is triggered. So pretty much the model will see this. Use the following context as you learn knowledge, and then it will retrieve something. Put the retrieved information there, and this is the actual prompt that you instruct. If you don't know, say don't know. Don't know when you're sure, ask for clarification. This is just a prompt that is used for RAG application, typical RAG application. If you don't know what RAG is, I have a separate video again on RAG on my YouTube channel. Feel free to go and learn about RAG there. Chunk size, how big is your chunk? How big is your text to group into a chunk, so that this chunk will be given to the embedding model to process. So yes, again, the RAG application will be inside this Documents tab. Web search. Web search allows, it's another tool. It actually allows web searching, retrieve some information from web search and give this web search information as a context for the model to answer. So it's the same idea as RAG, but the context now, instead of being from a document, it's from internet search. You can enable the web search capability using this function. And there are a lot of options you can pick. Some service like Google PSE requires an API, but DuckDuckGo is free, so that's why I'm going with DuckDuckGo for now. I'm actually using DuckDuckGo in my life. It's been many years, but I think it's good. So here we go. You can config for how many search results you want. You can go for 5. Concurrent requests, you can do whatever you want here too. And this is other things that I turn on if you want to bypass the SSL verification, or according to the documentation, this allows the program to handle downloading a transcript of a YouTube video for you. So this is handy if you want to do RAG on YouTube with video, but not a video per se. It's the YouTube video's transcript. So click save if you are happy with that. Interface. This title prompt generation is a prompt so that when you chat with your bot, the title of that chat is going to be created. So this is for, as the name of this tab mentioned, is interface. So I'm not going to do anything fancy at all. I'm not going to touch it. I leave it as is for now. Now again, audio. If you want to have a speech-to-text model, you can choose which one you want to use. Whisper model on local computer, or OpenAI API, or Web API if you wish. Any other things, you can do that too. This is not going to be covered in my video today, but you can probably search the internet. I need to say that some of the features are not well explained. So if I have time, I will revisit this again and make a video about audio features of Open WebUI. Now the thing that I will include is image generation. The default is actually automatic 1111, but for the sake of time, because if we run automatic 1111 or even Comfy UI on my machine, I think it's going to be really slow and on the verge of crashing. So I'm going to use OpenAI API key, where I will use now the DALL E3 model. So you can turn on. You need to turn on this. And this is for OpenAI API, the base URL. Put in your OpenAI API key. Definitely select the model that you want. If you want DALL E2, pick the one that you want, DALL-E 3, pick the one that you want. Now, to start with, you will get 512, cross 512. If you pick DALL-E 3, you will get an error because DALL-E 3 produces higher resolution. So change it to 1024 by 1024 for DALL-E 3 and you'll be good. Initially, the steps is also 50. In my demo, I reduced it to 20, but maybe I'll just increase it up again. Pipelines, I am not going to talk about pipelines here, but the concept of pipeline is pretty much is the same concept as automation. You connect things, you build pipelines to process something, right? And I will probably need to make another session for talking about pipelines because it's a powerful concept. It doesn't need to have a user interface like we are using right now. So you can connect so many dots, many nodes together, and yes, you can do that with codes from Open WebUI. Database, you can download, export, whatever it is that you do right here. All right, I think we have covered all the things that I would like to cover in terms of the admin panel. So let's walk you through the step of adding a new user. So by the way, in the dashboard, I need to start with here. In the dashboard, it allows you to see the users inside your system. This is my one of my users, so I can change his role from being pending, pretty much no access, to a user, or upgrade him into an admin. For now, I'm just going to let him as a user. So let's go through user management process. I will create another user, and you can see when the new user comes in, what needs to be set up. All right. So I am going to open up an incognito mode right here and access my server. Here we go. This is for a person who hasn't signed up before, a new user, they have to do it here. So an email can be anything. User email. This is not the good username, whatever. And you can type in password and sign up. Sorry, test user. Here we go. Test user email, create an account. So now that user will need to be enabled or grant access by the admin. So I am coming to my admin page. This is my user page. This is my admin page. I refresh it, and now I can see new users in the list here. And then if I'm sure that this person is legit inside my company, well, you have authority to force new passwords as well. But now, if you are happy with this new user, you can now grant an access to the system by clicking it to be a user or an admin if you wish. Now I am coming back to the user side. I can check again, and voila, I get to where I want to be. And take a look at this. This is the model that I have. It's actually in the whitelisting that we saw before. So let's say, okay, new model from OpenAI is released, the GPT-4o mini, and I want to enable the model for all of my users. So you will come to admin panel, as you are right now, go to settings and come to users. And we are going to add models to the whitelisting. So right now, whitelisting applies to all users. The Open WebUI doesn't have a control per user just yet. So that's one of the things that is going to be a good feature if they can do that. So here we go. I am going to add GPT-4o mini to the new whitelisting, and then I will click save. So all right, I just enabled GPT-4o mini to users by adding it to a whitelisting. Then is it in effect now? Let me just refresh my user side interface, and here we go. Previously this guy is not there. Now I can use GPT-4o mini. Hello there, how are you? Here we go, GPT-4o mini. Hello, I'm just a computer program, blah blah blah. How can I assist you today? Why is the sky blue? Blah blah blah. Okay, blah blah. This is the explanation of why the sky is blue from the knowledge that the model should have. So again, this doesn't prevent hallucination, right? Hallucination kicks in if we don't have grounding, pretty much document that the model should know, should base its answer from. So let's take a look at before we actually do that. So we did connecting OpenAI and Ollama. Maybe we'll just test Ollama right now. So Ollama, let me just test it with my admin interface over here. So Ollama, my Ollama has Gemma 2, right? So so let's see. Okay, this is my terminal that is now hosting Ollama server. Let's see if I try to talk to Gemma 2, 9 billion parameter, will there be any updates on this? So hello, how are you? So here we go. I send a command. I'm supposed to be talking to Gemma 2, and this, you see that things are happening. Now Ollama is loading up Gemma 2, configure everything that it needs to do, and here we go. And Ollama is now answering my call. So there we go. It's a proof that Open WebUI can work with Ollama. You can save your money if you want to use your model locally. All right, there we go. We have connected to OpenAI API, Ollama on your local server. We did manage users, granted new access, change roles, or something like that. Now we will focus on RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, or chat with your document. How are we going to do that? So just for clarity, to start the RAG application, you start with the admin portal, come to workspace, and you can have you will have tabs on the top. You will go to documents. This is a place where you upload. I'm not sure if it's uploading, but you say you tell this program that this is a document that you want to put into RAG. I'm not sure whether behind the scene is it going to copy it to a local folder or not, but I don't want to go into the detail just yet, but this is how you are going to do it. And when you do it right, you can use your document well using hashtags. As you can see here, these are separate documents. And like imagine like if you have hundreds of documents without proper tagging, without proper hashtagging, it's going to be hell, right? I group everything that I have uploaded here so far into MBA marketing. So maybe you will have like 10 or 20 documents for some of your usage. Maybe like HR about hiring new person, if it's human resource, or HR about payroll, or HR about company policies. So make sure you use tagging correctly, because it's going to help you a lot. Now, let's go through a process of adding more information. Here we go. You click the plus button on the right hand side, and you can click here to select documents. So I am going to make a demo with, I already add accounting, but I want to, is it accounting? Sorry, I added marketing. I am going to add accounting. So I can select everything here, click open, and to manage, don't forget to add the right tag. So click here and make sure that you can type. So I will put MBA, this is accounting, and enter. Make sure you enter. You can add multiple tags, go experiment with multiple tags. I think it will be useful. Or yeah, I'll just leave it at that, and you can click save. Now it's going to upload things. Here we go. It has uploaded accounting. See, over here I have a whole more list now. You can manage by filter, using filter as well. So I'm filtering with accounting, I'm filtering with marketing, right? I haven't really used this yet, but I think this is enough for you to get started. All right, there we go. I have upload documents in order for me to use RAG. How to use it? To use it, let's try with an admin account first. So first, you need to select a model. Let's say I am going to select GPT 3.5 Turbo. To use RAG, what you need to do is provide documents, right? How are you going to provide documents? Because you have already uploaded, you can provide documents through this upload button. Here, upload button, but it's not going to, you have to do that every time. That's what I'm trying to say. You have to do that every time that you are needing this. So for example, if I want to, so this thing is about merger and acquisition. So I can add it to this chat manually, and I can ask, tell me the difference between merger and acquisition. So it's going to provide answer based on the document that I provided, right? Having a reference here. But this is manual. It's good for just one-off RAG application. But what about the document that we uploaded it? We uploaded it because we want them to be accessed, we want the users to be able to access it a long time. It will be available all the time. So how are we going to do that? To select a document, you need to start with the sharp. Sharp notation allows you to select whatever document you want to use as a context for RAG application. And the reason why I want you to use hashtag is this. You can actually select it better. If it's about marketing, you just want to make sure that you search in marketing related documents only, not all documents, right? So here we go. I will select the whole collection. So I can ask, what is a What is 4Ps? How about that? So 4Ps refers to 4 factors of marketing mix that a company must consider in order to create a strategy, marketing strategy. Is product, price, place, and promotion. And these are the reference. You can click it. It's actually information, text inside a document. This is basic, right? You provide this document processing is basic. I provide a document which can contain images, graphs, and text. Open WebUI will only do basic processing, meaning extracting only text inside the document. It's not going to do image to text or any kind of enrichment at all. So the RAG that you get from Open WebUI this way is going to be the bare minimum, but at least it gets you started. So if your document contains high quality text without a lot of information being kept in graphs or images, this is going to be really good for you. There we go. This is RAG. So I have tested RAG in the admin portal, admin page. Can my user use it? So right now I am in my user interface, right? Can a user use it? Let's do the same thing. I pick GPT 3.5. I want to do RAG. I press sharp. Maybe I just want to refresh. Okay. So I'm only seeing MBA marketing. It could be because I just added MBA accounting into the document. Then this interface needs to be refreshed, maybe, in order to see that. So let me just try to refresh it. Refresh. Here we go. Try GPT 3.5 again. Press sharp, and there we go. So anytime, every time that you add new documents, the user is not going to see it right away. The user needs to refresh the page so that all the information is now updated. All right, similar question. What is a marketing mix? A marketing mix is a combination of 4 fundamental factors: product, price, place, and promotion. And these are the retrieved context or relevant context that it thinks it should retrieve to answer this question. All right, now you have seen that RAG with Open WebUI is extremely easy. You just need to provide documents, right? So we have nailed this one. What about web search? Can a user access web search? Web search can be activated. First thing first, you need to, as an admin, you need to enable it. You need to enable it via admin panel, setting, and web search. You need to configure this appropriately. And if so, if you do that correctly, then the user should be able to do web search as well. Here we go. Actually, before we do that, web search can be provided as RAG, as I mentioned. One of the way is to actually do web search right here, right? Let me try. What is the Prime Minister? Who is the Prime Minister of UK? Is it going to do web search? Yes, it's now doing web search. Who is the Prime Minister of UK? Now, if I remember correctly, how many? So what we are using DuckDuckGo as a search engine. We are requesting for 5 search results. And these are the 5 search results. And somehow it's looking into MBA marketing. That is crazy. but at least now it looks into Wikipedia. Now search items. Top one is that's Prime Minister of United Kingdom. Here we go, and the answer, the final answer is Sir Keir Starmer. Is that correct? Is that correct? I think so. I'm not on top of yeah, is correct. Here we go. So let's assume by the way, he just got into the parliament in July, earlier this month. So I wonder if we search the same thing without web search. We toggle the web search off and we still use GPT 3.5 Turbo. The answer should be different. Oh well, at least it knows that it doesn't have that information. Well, not bad. Alright, so yeah, this is a way to actually enable web search. You set up with you set it up in the admin page correctly, and then you can use it. Another way to actually do it's related to a web, but it's not a web search. It's actually RAG with web. So you can do RAG with web as well. So let me start off with Wikipedia on quantum entanglement. Just to be crazy. So this is a link that I want the model to answer based on. I don't need to save it into a PDF and put it into the document. If I want to have a quick one-off answer based on the internet, I can do sharp and paste the URL in there. And now it's retrieving. It's actually pulling information from the web page, ready to be answered. Okay, let me try something about spooky action at a distance. That's a good term. So let's say, what is spooky action at a distance? Select GPT 3.5. Spooky action as a distance is it's related to the quantum entanglement, in which if two objects are entangled and they're so far apart. Oops, hold on. I will try it again. I don't want it to have internet access. If two particles are entangled, If two particles are entangled and they are so far apart where information cannot travel, well, any information will travel at the speed of light. If these two particles are apart, when I observe one particle, I know right away what the other particle will be. For example, if these two particles are correlated in colors, if one of them is red, the other one is red, must be red. If I know this property, even though I receive one particle and the other particle is on the other corner of the universe, in which it will take years and years before the information can can reach me, no matter how far that particle, the second particle, is, if I receive the first particle and I see it as green, I know immediately, the information is immediate, that the second particle is also green. This is referred to, this concept is related to something we call a spooky in action. Well, I know as a physicist, but let me try it again as a GPT 3.5. So I need to turn off the internet search I did, and this is I'm trying to do RAG based on internet, one page of the internet. What's the word again? I'm not really 100%. Spooky action at a distance. Spooky action at a distance. It's still doing internet search. Sucks. Anyway, so it's a term used in the context of quantum mechanics to describe a mysterious phenomenon where particles are entangled and instantly affect each other. The concepts of knowing something when the other one is 100% known. Anyway, so this is one of the way you can use internet or website for RAG or the web search. And this is another way to access information of a web rather than using a web search. You're using RAG instead. Here we go. All right, we did this example. So let's get into a quickie. This one is about prompt snippet. We are going to experiment with image generation as well. For image generation to be there, you need to correctly configure this one. So right now I'm using DALL E 3, and it's going to be 50 steps in terms of generating the image. Okay, so that should be ready to use. Now, what I want to bring you to see here is go into the workspace. There's a tab called prompts, and this allows you to actually create prompts. You can explore prompts on Open WebUI community by clicking this button, but you can, what I want to show you here is this guy. This allows you to create a prompt snippet where you can quickly retrieve that template, and you can provide placeholders. An example here that I made is basic image generation. So you provide a title, right? And it will be automatically used as a snippet command. And this is the actual prompt template that I use. Repeat this text. Create a placeholder medium of a placeholder subject and placeholder attributes in placeholder scene. So this is a minimum MVP prompt to generate an image. So one thing that that you might notice is that this prompt is it needs to start with repeat this text. This is the way to do image to text generation with Open WebUI. You need to have that, and you will see the reason why later, why we need this. But if you use other tools like ChatGPT or Gemini, you can just say create blah 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 for me, and that is enough. But for Open WebUI, you need to start with this. Okay, so this is a prompt snippet that I can use, and you can do it yourself. You can define something that you will use often yourself right here in the same way that I showed you too. Okay, now we are going to do retrieve the prompt snippet and do image generation. I am back to the user panel rather than an admin panel. To use image generation with OpenAI, you need to go with GPT-4o. To use a snippet, you start with \. Here, the snippet that you defined as an admin is now available for a user to use. So I can just type / and select the snippet that I want. And then that template will be brought to me, right? And here we go. I can go from one placeholder to the other by type and tab. So I want to create a green cockatoo tab, and then I will come, I'll come to a subject. Actually, I do it again. The medium is a photograph. I want a medium to be a photograph and a green. Cockatoo. Attribute. I want it to wearing a suit, a black suit, and a red bow tie in a cocktail bar. So this is my complete prompt. What you just saw here is I call the snippet and then I go from one placeholder, put in the information, and to the other placeholder, and I finish my prompt. So actually, first, it's consistent. If you want your users to use prompt consistently, perhaps they are not so capable in terms of learning prompt engineering. This is a good way to do. And I click enter. So GPT-4o is going to repeat that. And the reason why I need to do this is that I need to click this button. This is a workflow of doing text to image generation with Open WebUI. So when you click this button, it's going to actually send a command to OpenAI API server and actually do text to image generation for us. Here we go. A photograph of a green cockatoo wearing a black suit and red bow tie in a cocktail bar. So to be honest, the quality is not that great just yet, and some of the possible reasons are probably this or that, the image size or the steps, the sets of the step size. So you can play with this parameters to get the result that you're happy with. All right, one last item to go through is a tool use of function calling. This is an advanced feature. You need to define your tool before your AI can use it. And this is a way you come to the Tools tab to define a tools or function that you want to use. From my understanding, if you want your AI to use some tools, maybe call some APIs or do some calculations, come to this Tools tab. I need to learn a little bit more about functions, but somehow my understanding is this functions, this tab is for defining functions to work on to process the output of the AI, output of the model. But I'm not 100% sure about that. But for now, let's focus on this tool use. It's a concept that is related to what we discussed at the function calling leaderboard. So sometimes tool use and function callings are used interchangeably. So based on the context, you will get a sense of what this actually is, right? All right. A quick template. To get to a quick template of how to use this guy is to click the plus button. You will define the name and it will auto-generate your the ID for this function. And this is a template. The bare minimum, you will need to import something. By the way, this is in Python. You will need to import some code, some libraries in order to use it, and you define a class of tools where inside you define a function that you want the model to call to execute a function. This is a rather complex thing. I'm not going to show you there, so I'm not going to go into detail of this. I'm just going to show you very simple one, because I just want to test whether this feature of adding function will work or not. So I've made one tool. This one is called city weather. Basically, it's going to get current weather of a city. Well, this is the name, this is the ID, and this is the description. Actually, it's not going to get the current weather, because if you take a look at my function here, if you take a look at my code of this thing, it has one function called get current weather, where the necessary or the required argument is a city, a string. But whatever you give it, I will just return that the weather is nice. So if the model replies with the weather of what city is nice, then the tool is going to be called, the tool was called correctly. So I just want to test this capability. And if you know that this function is called properly, then you can fill in the detail later. But for now, I'm just going to do it as a minimally required things to do. Alright, in order to use the tools, you will come to the model tab. And then you are going to create a model. Let's click that. So when you create a model, you will give it a name and perhaps modify the model ID as you wish. You will then select the base model that you want this modeled. Well, you set the base model so that the model will be based on that. Well, and then you give it a description. This is just for people to understand what this model is. You can give it a system prompt. System prompt is important, right? You can prime the model to act in a certain way, like a friendly, or being a senior HR or a senior writer, or ask a model to be a pirate. You can do many things with that. And if you do this right, at the end you will see tools. These tools will be equipped, or at least the model will know that it has this tool at its disposal. Right? You need to select the tool that you want the model to use, and you can also attach documents that this tool needs to use as well. So the model will actually have RAG tools associated with it, right? As the one that I tried, here we go. This is my city weather model. I need to pick GPT-4o because I want a model that has good function calling capability, and GPT-4o is one of them. It's not the best, as you saw earlier. Where is it? It's not the top one as the GPT, but it could be good enough. I can't find it here again. Here, it's rank 12, but it's not that bad. So let's try with GPT-4o first. And this is my system prompt. You are a helpful assistant in getting information about current weather in a given city. You only do this task, and you refuse to do everything else. If you must refuse to do it politely, you must use the given tool to get the value of the current weather. And I provided a tool. Other things, so give it a tag as well if you wish. I don't provide it with any other documents because it's not relevant to this task. And then when you're happy configuring everything, you can also configure the image, the logo as well. But if you're happy, you can click Save and Update. All right? And where is this model available? Well, it will be to be available to users. You need to also whitelisting it right here. Using this page to whitelist the model, I've done that, and the city weather is there. So let's try. Here, I am back at my user interface. I want to use the city weather. And so right now I started a chat. My city weather tool is not enabled. So let's say weather of San Francisco. Hopefully, so somehow it's doing all the search again. That doesn't make any sense. This can be a bug, but okay. As you have seen, I tried the model, but I did not enable the tool just yet, even though I picked this model. So let me pick the model, the right model again, but now I also enable the city tool. So I will say the same thing, weather of San Francisco. What is it going to do? Okay, the weather in San Francisco is generally nice. This is not right. So the function calling doesn't work. Okay, just to remind you, if the function calling is correct, this tool will say only weather of the city is nice. So somehow it doesn't do it correctly. It's not surprising. GPT-4o might not be the right model to do function calling consistently or stably. So let me try it again. Weather Bangkok. Is generally nice. See, somehow it's really weird. This is not the first time that I saw this behavior. So in order to test again, I am back at the admin panel, where I will try my tool. City weather of Bangkok. Now it's correct. I don't know what is happening, but for the admin page, when the tool is enabled, then when the tool is enabled, the model behaved correctly. So I am back at the test user page again. I hypothesize that there's a glitch there because it's still doing this thing. So just to be clear, I can try to log out. Okay, log in again. user.email@gmail.com. Okay, I'm back in. Let me try. Pick the city weather modeled. Enable this. Weather of Bangkok. You think it can do that? Here we go. It looks okay. What about the weather of San Francisco? It should be nice. Okay, right now seems like the tool is being run properly. When there's a glitch, I think that was a glitch. I just need to sign out and sign back in again, and now the user can use a model with the tool appropriately, right? Yeah, it seems to me that the tool function calling or tool use is still glitchy. Not sure if it's because the configuration. I don't think the configuration is improper because it was triggered as it should be when it was correctly triggered. I guess my hypothesis is that this is because the model that we use is not strong in terms of function calling, because we were just using GPT-4o. Right. Here we go, guys. even though that is a glitch, I still think Open WebUI is a valuable open source tool that allows you to use to have an AI as an assistant or an agent. And the interface is very easy to use. You can connect it with OpenAI API or even Llama that you can host on your server as well. So that actually brings us to a conclusion here. So today we have exploring tools to compare LLMs providers across many dimensions, right? We call that tool artificial analysis.ai. You are also introduced to another leaderboard that allows you to compare and evaluate models for its function calling or tool use capability. And lastly, you explored Open WebUI, an open source UI that is very similar to ChatGPT, but it's open source. It can run on your laptop or your server. So it's a quick way for you to do RAG web search based assistance, or even to use agent for your company. I have used this tool in my company as well, and it allows me to provide AI tool to my team members at an affordable cost. So thank you very much for staying with us to the end of our show. So before I leave you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Case Done by AI. We are on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Substack, and even GitHub as well. So thank you very much for staying this long, and have a good day.